transcript confirms Pope Francis passed away Easter Monday, 7:35 a.m. Rome time.
Right, 88 years old.
Yeah, 88. And the Vatican statement, of course, expressed deep sorrow.
Absolutely. And, within that statement, they really emphasize his life being dedicated to the service of the Lord in his church, teaching gospel values, courage, love, especially, they noted, towards the most vulnerable.
That seems to capture the core themes we saw, right?
It really does. A clear recognition of his example.
Thinking about his journey before he became Pope, born in 1936, a Jesuit priest.
Right.
Later Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 98, Cardinal in 2001.
Standard progression in some ways, but then
this detail, it really highlights how unexpected it all was. The transcript mentions he actually booked a return flight.
To Argentina for after the 2013 conclave.
Yeah. What does that tell us about his mindset then?
It just screams surprise, doesn't it? He wasn't expecting this massive responsibility.
Definitely paints a picture of someone not campaigning for the job, so to speak.
Not at all. And that humility seems consistent. The story is also mentioned in the transcript.
Oh, like taking the bus.
Yeah, taking a bus right after being elected instead of the papal car. And apparently he personally called to cancel his newspaper delivery back home.
Wow. Small things, but they speak volumes, don't they? About his character, his priorities.
They really do.
Okay, so moving on to his time as Pope, the transcript points out this dynamic view. Many saw him as a truly modern Pope, but conservatives often viewed him as too liberal.
Right, and the transcript suggests that was largely due to his focus shifting towards social issues and being very vocal on things like climate change.
It does highlight those internal church dynamics during his time.
And what's really insightful here, I think, for you, the listener, is that shift the transcript mentions, the idea of depth of faith over the content of faith.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
Well, it suggests his priority was more on the lived experience of faith, that personal encounter with God.
Rather than just ticking off doctrinal boxes, maybe?
Exactly. Less about strict adherence on every single point, perhaps more about the spirit. How do you think that showed up practically?
That's a good question. I think it connects directly to his constant call for Catholics to, get involved, to focus on responding to people in need.
The practical side.
Yeah, especially the poorest, most marginalized, and most vulnerable, as the transcript puts it. That analogy, he used the church as a field hospital.
Oh, that's a powerful one. Really brings the idea home, doesn't it?
It does. It sort of reframes the church's mission as immediate care, healing for those suffering.
Right. Not just a place for doctrine and ritual, but actively out there.
And we can't forget the sheer historical weight, first non-European pope in over 1,000 years.
Huge. That alone signaled a massive shift in the global face of Catholicism.
And his name choice, Francis, so intentional, a drawing from St. Francis of Assisi.
It was all about serving the poor, right?
Yeah.
The transcript reminds us of that connection.
And it seems Pope Francis really leaned into that. It became a defining part of his leadership.
Totally. He embodied that Pope of personal encounter and great symbolism, as the source says.
Like that moment, his first Holy Thursday as Pope.
Washing the feet of juvenile offenders.
Yeah. And framing it, the transcript notes, as solidarity with migrants, using a really powerful symbol to underscore his message.
Challenging perceptions, definitely.
And the transcript also mentions his less formal approach to the papacy compared to some predecessors.
Yeah, a different style.
Do you think that played a role in how different groups perceived him, both inside and outside the church?
Oh, almost certainly. That less formal style, plus the direct engagement on social issues, probably made him seem more modern, more accessible to some.
But maybe unsettling for others who preferred, a more traditional approach.
Exactly. It likely contributed to both perceptions. And then there's his 2015 encyclical Laudato Si.
Right, on the environment.
The transcript rightly calls it groundbreaking, a call for a new dialogue about, shaping the future of our planet, tackling environmental challenges head on.
What really struck me about Laudato Si was how it broadened the scope. It wasn't just political or scientific anymore.
He framed it morally, ethically.
Yeah, as a matter of faith. And the transcript also notes his desire to bring the church to the people, cut back on the pageantry.
Which fits, doesn't it? It aligns with that overall less formal style, the focus on accessibility.
It seems consistent, making the church more engaged with modern realities, from practical faith to symbolic actions to global issues.
Yeah, you see that thread running through.
Now, the transcript does touch on some recent developments, things that seem to suggest a kind of forward-looking perspective, maybe even an awareness of his own mortality.
Like the autobiography.
Exactly. Hope, the first memoir by a sitting pope. What do you make of the timing of that?
Well, it's pretty significant, isn't it? Publishing a memoir while still in office?
Yeah.
It suggests maybe a desire to reflect, to offer a final perspective on his journey, his papacy.
And maybe the church's future.
Could be. And then there's the creation of 21 new cardinals.
Right, and almost all under 80, eligible to vote in the next conclave.
That's clearly a strategic move. Thinking about his successor, shaping the future leadership.
And he also extended the terms of 2 other cardinals, apparently aligning with his own revised rules.
So more evidence of focusing on that future leadership structure.
Definitely feels like it. And finally, the simplification of his own funeral rites.
Less pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, and wanting to be buried in one of his favorite churches in Rome, not the Vatican grotto.
Those details, they paint a picture, don't they? Someone very conscious of his legacy, wanting his final acts to reflect his values. Humility, perhaps?
It seems so. All these actions relatively close together. It does make you wonder, were these deliberate steps to influence the church's direction after he was gone?
It's a key question to consider, definitely.
Okay, so then the transcript moves to the reactions.